Welcome back to the We Are Here podcast. I'm Paul.
And I'm Tony.
And we're so glad you're listening, watching on YouTube if you're watching us today. And we're here on the We Are Here podcast to celebrate Streator. We want to give our city a voice by letting people tell their stories, build bridges by connecting with leaders in our community. We have a great leader in our community today, Shannon Harback, who's the executive director at the Streator Family YMCA. And we want to celebrate who we are and where we're going. And we've done a lot of that today talking to Shannon.
Oh, yeah.
Shannon is a Streator native who works here in town, and she has recently become the executive director within the last year or so. And so she is working, of course, in the health and wellness area of things and the nonprofit area of things. She said some great things today about just the interconnections of our nonprofits, our service organizations, and how much that really means as a community to build up the entire community.
Yeah, talking to her was great. I like all the other podcasts, when people start talking about the organization, it's like, I can't believe how much stuff is going on.
Yeah.
I cannot believe. And so when she started rattling off all the things that the Y does for the community, what they do in-house, all the things they have available, I was awestruck.
It's amazing.
Like, that's
it really
a ton of stuff. Like, they've got to be moving constantly. But I'm going to let her talk about that, not us. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this podcast.
Welcome back to the We Are Here podcast. We're here today with Shannon Harback, the executive director of the Streator Family YMCA. Shannon, we're so excited to have you here with us today through a connection with one of our previous guests, Kate Tomboss. I want to give Kate a shout out for that.
And go Kate.
We're thankful for that connection. One of the things that we've said all along is just how interconnected and how much people are willing to serve in Streator. And so just another great example of that. So glad to have you here today. The reason we wanted to have Shannon on with us, other than that connection with Kate, of course, is really, she's a Streator native and someone who works here in Streator at the Y and has come back to work and does, through the YMCA, does great work. The organization does great work throughout the entire community on so many levels of health and wellness and child care and education and providing sports and a fitness center that I'd love to talk about that I've benefited from. And so there's really just so many different levels to the Y that are a great attribute, a great addition to our community for many, many years. I personally have memories at the Y going back to when I was a kid. So it's a great place. Their mission is committed to providing spiritual, mental, physical development and leadership opportunities consistent with Christian values for members and constituents through excellence in programs, services, and facilities. And so the YMCA is probably in just about every community or every area, every region that we could talk about, and at least in the United States. People are very familiar with it, but there's probably a lot that people don't know that goes on the Y as well. So happy to have you, Shannon.
Yeah,
welcome.
Thank you.
So just to get things started, tell us a little bit about yourself, your connection with Streator. Of course, growing up here, what are your memories? What do you cherish about Streator, and what brought you back to work here in Streator?
Sure, yeah. So I was born and raised in Streator. Almost all of my family is from Streator. My grandparents were from Streator, so I really have a lot of very fond memories of just spending time with my family, really getting to just get to know. I feel very privileged to know all of my grandparents, I think, is one of my biggest things, because some of my aunts and uncles now, they live, around the country, and I know they don't have those relationships with their grandchildren. And as a mom now, I know how important it is to have that support system and have those grandparents here. So I feel very privileged to have those special memories here. Both my parents graduated from Streator High School. I graduated from Streator High School. So it's fun to have that connection. You know, they were able to share some of their memories growing up here. And I actually still own, or have in my possession, I should say, my grandma's yearbooks from high school
wow.
from the 50s.
Wow.
So that's just so fun to look through. I'm such a history nerd when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I remember flipping through the pages of those with her and thinking, you know, I know where that part of the building
Yeah.
is, and I can't believe that it used to look like that, or just whatever. So sharing those memories with family who also grew up here is just a very, very cool thing.
The hard Scrabble, right?
Yes.
That's what they call it. Do they still call it the hard
I
Scrabble?
think they do, yeah.
So,
So that's just it's just very neat that I have those.
What
in my
a
possession.
cherished possession. That's so great.
Yeah.
To have.
So yeah, I attended all the Streator grade schools. My dad was actually a custodian at the at North Lawn and Centennial for 30 plus years. So I went to Centennial school, so I got to see my dad at school. And if I was, getting in trouble at school, he would let me know. He used to work the second shift there, and sometimes he would have to sub for day shift when we would have lunch. And it was so funny. He would dance with one of the lunch ladies just to embarrass me. I don't really know. And everybody would ask me, "Is that your mom?" And I'm like, "No, it's not my mom." So that sounds so silly now, but those are fond memories that I have, just having so many connections to family exactly where I was. So growing up, I played softball at Bosnick's. I was always involved in dance. I was very active in the community. I actually went to Tot Lot. It was formerly called preschool at the YMCA.
Okay. Yeah.
I learned how to swim at the YMCA. I now have my son in swim lessons, and he's going to learn to swim at the YMCA. So it's just, it all comes full circle,
That's amazing. Yeah. To be able to, I grew up here at Central, and so being able to work at the church that I grew up at is just amazing. So,
yeah.
And also being able to go to school where your parent works. So my mom is a paraprofessional, and so I experienced that too. So, you just never get away with anything, do you?
No, it's very small town USA. Everybody knows everyone, and you're gonna get in trouble for something somewhere.
and also for all the dads out there, any chance to potentially embarrass your daughter when she's in grade school, you just gotta go with it. So that's fantastic. So good job, Shannon's dad. So, growing up in Streator, you have those connections. I'm just thinking, do you, and maybe you don't, but do you work with anybody that you remember from when you were growing up at the Y, or do you see any patrons that come in that you recognize from the past or anything? Or
yeah, definitely. I've had some people come up to me and they're like, "Oh, you're so and so's granddaughter." It's like, yeah, I sure am. Who are you? One person that comes to mind is Judy Booz.
Yeah.
You've interviewed her.
Sure.
She's director of the Salvation Army, and I was actually president of Key Club when I was in high school. Wow. And we participated in the canned food drive with them, bell ringing with them. So I've known her. My grandma actually volunteered at the Salvation Army for many years, sorting through donations that they got for the thrift store. So I know Judy for a lot of different reasons. And it's funny now, we both attended the United Way dinner, and I'm now sitting at the table next to her.
Yeah.
And that's a very, that's kind of a shell shock when, all of a sudden I'm her equal in terms of what we're bringing to the community. And that's just like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
How am I in this position?
it's almost humbling, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it is humbling just to be able to, these people who were adults when you were growing up, seeing them serve, and now you're getting to serve alongside them. It's just, it's so amazing to have that next generation be able to come up with the previous generation, and they're passing the baton in a lot of ways, and that's fantastic. So you probably, just kind of imagine this, you probably see former teachers and former school workers, principals, things like that, all the time through your work. And so having those connections is really something special. And so I'm thankful. I'm thankful that we have, someone at our Y that has those connections. That really means a lot to our community. So other than that, how growing up in Streator, your time at Streator High School, Key Club president, obviously a service organization, being able to be now in the nonprofit world, how did those things prepare you for your work as the executive director at the Y?
Sure. Yeah. So for college, I went to Eastern Illinois University and studied recreation administration there. I was obviously involved in a lot of our classes were hands-on, so I kind of got to see the field before I even got to work in it. I actually worked in Pontiac for a couple of years at their Parks and Rec department as rec supervisor. So I didn't have a ton of experience in the nonprofit world prior to taking the position at the Y. I was ready for a change. I was ready for something new. I wasn't even looking for a new job. I saw the program director position at the Y, and I thought, what a cool way to give back to the community that I'm from. I applied for the job kind of randomly and just on a whim, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but I definitely nailed the interview. And I walked out of there, and I was like, well, crap. Now they're going to offer that to me, and now I'm going to have to make a decision because I had a job that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to venture into the nonprofit world or not. So sure enough, I got a call that, they offered me the position. I took a couple days to think on it. And I said, you know what? I feel something's drawing me to this. So I went ahead and took it. Jill Seaton was the executive director at the time. Her family has since moved away. Her husband got a job opportunity in Springfield while I was on maternity leave. And then all of a sudden, here I am with this decision. I was in the program director position for 2 years prior to that. And okay, do I want to take this next leap into the executive director role? And I kind of thought to myself, this wouldn't be happening if this opportunity wouldn't be there if I wasn't meant to go for it. So I don't feel that you're ever fully ready for a position like that or, to take that next step, but you kind of just have to take a leap of faith sometimes if you feel that door is opening for a reason. So I think in my 2 years of being program director, understanding how the nonprofit world operates gave me a lot more confidence, especially at being in this community because Streator is so giving and whether that's with their time, their finances, whatever, it just meant a lot knowing that, okay, even though this is a nonprofit world that I'm diving into, I know I'm very supported by the board, by our staff, by the community, and that really just makes all the difference when you're talking a world of nonprofit.
Yeah, having a team, I know, your patrons are definitely supporting, and the community that's there is very much for the Y and always looking to do good and improve and it's you have great workers there as well. So I know I've experienced that myself, just the friendly nature, and it really does show from the moment you walk in the door and so that's fantastic and good for you for taking that leap of faith, and especially
I don't know why.
as a new mom, and man, that was brave and it was bold, and
year.
Yeah, I bet. When do you sleep?
When the baby sleeps.
Yes. But good for you for being bold and taking that leap of faith, because if you hadn't, it was for the good of your family, obviously, but it's for the good of the organization and the community as well. So,
and I think the board recognizes too the value in having somebody that's here from this community. Because if you don't understand, Streator, and you don't have some of those connections or be willing to make some of those connections, it can be tough when you're in just a rural community like this. So,
it would grateful. Be, I could see how it would be also much harder for an outsider to take that leap as well. So, but very brave and very good. And we're happy that you did. I personally, as a patron, am happy that you did. And it shows, throughout the whole team, because they really make it a special place. So, just kind of thinking a little bit more on the Y itself, since we're kind of talking about that, and we'll come back maybe in a moment to Streator and how things have changed from what you remember. But sure. How does the mission of the Y, how does health and wellness encourage growth in our community? So. I don't want to say it this way, but I'll say it this way. So kind of why does that mission matter? And we've talked a little bit with Ellen Vogel in the past about blue zones and, community health and wellness. And so how do you see that mission for the Y, helping our community grow? How does it improve Streator as a city overall?
Yeah, so Nicole Reynolds, our Wellness and Aquatics Director, she's actually on Live Well Streator with Ellen on the Activities Committee. And then I'm part of it from kind of the oversight. I've only attended one meeting so far, but it was good. But yeah, I think we all share the same vision of keeping spirit, mind, and body healthy in all ways. So it's really more of a wellness standpoint rather than, the Y is more than just a gym. A lot of people think that, people have their own conceptions of the Y and kind of have their own ideas of what we might bring to the community. But like you said earlier, there's so much more to it. I mean, it's not just a place to work out. It's a place to have those social opportunities. We have a lot of, the older population, they'll come in, and whether they live independently or what, it's really a social gathering place for them, on top of being a place where they can, get the benefits of physical exercise. But there's a group of people in the morning, they come in and hang out in the lobby and drink coffee, and it's big social hour, but that's so important for them if you're looking in terms of overall wellness. Mental health, physical health, it all ties, it's all one and the same. So if you're taking the time to take care of your physical body, your mental health is now going to benefit from that because you're taking time for yourself,
Absolutely.
It really all goes hand in hand. And at the Y, I think we do a really good job of, gyms can be intimidating, or, they can be viewed as like this elite club. And I think at the Y, we do a really, really good job of being just kind of a no judgment zone, giving people a safe place to achieve, whatever their goals are. Everybody can come in with a different goal, and I think the Y can be a place for everyone.
Yeah. There's something for every age. You've got, like you said, from the moment you walk in, I'm just imagining walking in there, you've got a welcoming face, at the desk, sometimes more than one people sitting there ready to help you. You've got that nice little area, kind of seating area with, drinks and snacks there. And like you said, if you go in the morning, there's almost always someone there reading the newspaper, drinking a cup of coffee, having a conversation. And then, I know for myself, I'm a people person. So, so I rarely, if I go in there in the morning, rarely go straight to the gym. It's usually having a conversation with somebody I know. Yeah. And then when you go into the fitness center, before you even get there, you've got the action zone?
Arcade.
Action Arcade. Yep. For your kids, we've got daycare going on there. You've got kids, not running around. They're in line. They're being taken well attended. But you've got every age. You've got something for every activity level. Even in the fitness center, you've got the circle of the body, kind of the body weight exercise machines, all the way up to free weights. The downstairs free weight area. There really is something for everybody. That's not even including the gym and the pool. We could be here all day. And then you've got support as well. So talk a little bit about that. How important is that support, those support programs, trainers, and fitness classes, and because that provides community as well.
Oh, absolutely.
So tell us a little bit more about that. What are some of the things that how have you seen that benefit people in the community?
Sure. Yeah. So if you're talking about like the physical, fitness kind of aspect of things, we actually have a Smart Start orientation program where if you are a brand new member to the Y, you don't know anything about fitness, it's free with your membership. You get, I don't know how many it is. Nicole takes care of it. It's so many sessions with a wellness coach where they give you an orientation on the equipment. So you kind of communicate to them what your goals are, whether you're looking to lose weight, build muscle, whatever it might be. Just learn about exercise. You are able to walk around with them, and they show you how to properly use equipment. They kind of come up with a plan for you. We offer personal training. If after that you still feel that you need some more guidance and that wasn't enough for you. In terms of the group exercise classes, those are free to all members. So you can just show up for those, except for our water classes. Those do require a reservation just because we only have so much space in the pool. But it's all free to members. And that has it just builds such a sense of community because you're not working out alone. You're being held accountable with a friend that you bring to class with you, or, you will make friends in those classes.
Yes.
So people look forward to attending those with their friends, with their new community of people. And it's it's empowering to have such like-minded people around you when you're trying to achieve kind of the same goal. And we have awesome instructors. It's like 21 group exercise classes a week.
Wow.
So there's really something for everyone. There's
Yeah.
chair yoga. There's the water classes like I talked about. There's some more high intensity classes. There's the silver sneakers classes. I mean, I can completely understand how that would be an intimidating thing to walk into, but everybody's been in that position at one point or another. So just understanding that and knowing that you're walking into that judgment-free zone, I mean, that if I could kind of sum it up, that's how I would do that. So
then outside of the fitness realm, what are some of the other things that you, as the Y, as an organization, offer to support people in the community to help them out?
Yeah.
Maybe talk on the educational level,
Sure.
just some of those other aspects that you...
Yeah. So we have our preschool program, like I said, formerly called Tot Lot. It's now Little Steps Learning. Our teachers in there are fantastic. We've got a great group of kids. We have a 3-year-old program and then a 4s and 5-year-old program. We have a 2-year-old program as well. It's much more scaled down. They can't handle a full day of preschool. But we do offer that. There's great education opportunities through that. We have a child watch program. So if you want to come use the facility, work out, swim, whatever that may be, and you don't have childcare, if you have a family membership and the kids are included on that membership, it's free.
Yeah.
You just have to reserve a spot. We have a couple hours in the morning, 9 to 11 every morning, and then in the evening, Monday through Thursday from 5 to 7. So if you want to attend a group X class, or you want to get some laps in the pool, or you want to just come work out, you can leave your kids in there. Our staff are very well trained in there. They are excellent. I can't say enough about the child watch. I would trust them with my own child.
Yeah.
So if that
Yeah.
gives you any sense of, understanding of what that program brings to the Y, I think that's so important because it gives people an opportunity to use it that might not be able to. So we offer that. We offer before and after school care. That was a new program last year. We have partnerships with Centennial and Kimes. And again, we have great staff in there. And as a working mom, I understand the need, or will understand when my son's in school, for before and after school care and having a safe place for them that you trust. They're going to have, a good time, but still it's controlled. And just our staff are so great in there. So we offer that. We have youth sports. Our pool is a whole nother conversation. I could go on and on about the partnerships we have with the pool. We have, the Streator Fire Department uses it for water rescue training. Exelon or Constellation, is that what it's called now?
Constellation.
They brought in, I don't even know the science behind it, but they brought in robots, and they were using the pool to, do an in-service with their robots that they take, I'm assuming, in the lake. If that were needed, I don't know. It was very interesting to watch, but I didn't ask questions. So we have that. We have our Swimorama program where second graders at schools around the community, so Grand Ridge, Woodland, Deer Park, St. Michael's, all the Streator grade schools, they all come to the Y, and they get a week of just swim instruction and water safety. Obviously, we have swim lessons. OSF has physical therapy in the water twice a week. There's just
it goes
so
on and on
much.
and on.
And I know for a fact that they only hire top quality lifeguards.
Exactly.
Yes.
Tip-top quality lifeguards. My son is a lifeguard.
Yes. We love Landon. That's awesome. We have, and on that note, I have worked with Landon and Simon firsthand in our homeschool program when I was program director. So Megan Decker also came to me. Yes, they came to me. I was pretty new in the role, and they said, is there any opportunity to bring groups of homeschool kids here? And we established a program with them where they come once a month. They get to swim, and they get to do like a gym activity. And it's so cool to see the relationships between those kids develop too, because they get used to seeing each other at the Y every month. And that's so rewarding to see those relationships build and give those kids just a chance to do something fun, something different.
And doing those types of things at the Y is so easy.
It is.
We even if you just take it down to like birthday
parties.
Yeah.
We've done
that was what I was thinking of.
You show up, you've got the whole meeting area. You can set up for cake and all that. The kids go swim for a little bit. Then you get out and you're done. And with a minimum of cleanup, because you guys are like,
You're welcome.
we got it. Don't worry about it. And just having that resource makes life so much easier.
Yeah.
Like the homeschool groups, you show up and the stuff's just there. I think we've done
Yeah.
Nerf wars there.
Yeah.
We've done swimming. All that kind of stuff.
There was
so
a field day at one point, I think, out
Yeah.
there. They're having a field day
Yeah.
outside, and just so many different
it's
connections.
just a
and
great
activities.
resource to
Yeah.
have in town. It's
Yeah.
a place that has so much stuff
Yeah.
that you can do.
Oh, yeah. We have a similar program to homeschool with Streator Unlimited and the Brain Injury Clubhouse.
Oh, yeah.
They've had a transportation issue. I think one of their buses is broken down, but we love our partnerships with them. I mean, they come and do very similar activities. Of course, we adapt it for, what their needs are, but they are such a light. Like, sometimes, when you're working with the public, not everyone is sunshine and rainbows all the time, but Streator Unlimited and the Brain Injury Clubhouse are. Every
Nice.
time they
Yes.
come in, they are so excited to be there, and it just makes your day so much better.
We host the Night to Shine event
Yeah.
every
Yes.
year, and yes,
Absolutely.
like that group is so much fun.
Yeah.
And they are just so happy to be here.
Yes.
They look forward to it, and so it makes you want to do stuff for them.
Yeah.
Because they're so appreciative, and they just love every minute of it. So
And we love them. I
Yeah.
could cry. I just love them so much.
Well, we do too. Yeah, we do too. It's great to have all these intersections of community, and that is really what I think of. If I were to think of a word to summarize what happens at the YMCA, it is community. It's health and wellness in community, and it's so important for us to have those on multiple levels, those centers of community for us to be able to not only experience the joy of human interaction, that is important, and not only to find a place to exercise our bodies and to stay healthy, because that's important too. But I think it helps us with our creativity. I think it helps us with our seeing one organization the way that they do, their work helps us as another organization be even more creative. And we think, well, maybe we could do it that way, or maybe we could do it similar but with our own spin on it. And so it's always great to see, OSF and all these companies, the fire department even, the way that they do all these things, and being able to be a part of that and be able to say, hey, I helped them with that, or I gave them the place for that to be able to happen. The homeschool group, the schools, all those things. It's just so great to have a community that is knit together in such a way. So, so let's talk a little bit about barriers, I guess. So we've talked a little bit about that. The one that comes to mind, okay, and I'm just going to say this because I don't know if you're allowed to say it as the executive director of the YMCA, but the one that always comes to mind is, you've mentioned membership, and I know as a member, we have the benefit. I'm just going to say this out loud, just exposing all of my biases, right? So as a pastor, we're able to go out there as a family, just through being a pastor for free. But I know a lot of people would probably bring up the barrier of membership. So I'm going to say that for you, just that. I know when we were not able to come to the Streator Y for free, when we were in our previous community, there are programs that help with that. And I'm sure you want to highlight that as well. But I guess what I'm going to say on Shannon's behalf is don't let that be your barrier.
Yeah.
Because I know that we have done that in the past, and other people have as well. But if membership, even the cost of membership is a barrier, I would say personally, my endorsement is don't let that be your barrier, because there's so many good things that you get in return from that, and it is well worth every bit of it. And I'm exposing my biases here, so just saying that out loud. But so tell us a little bit more about that. What are some of the other barriers that you see? What do you guys do to help overcome that hump of the membership? If people need help with that financially, things like that. What are some of the ways that you guys are overcoming some of those barriers?
Yeah, so we actually offer a financial assistance program. It's called our Membership for All program.
Yeah.
Our membership director oversees that. Just putting it out there, nobody has ever turned away for their inability to pay. So just period, right there.
Awesome.
The Membership for All program, what it is it's similar to the food pantry, it sounds like, when he was on here. We go by household size and your income.
Great.
So it's a sliding scale where you would pay a certain percentage based on those two factors. So that does renew every year. So every year, you'd be able to submit that paperwork to our membership director, and she'd be able to get you approved. And that percentage comes off of your membership costs. And then if you were to register for any programs, it also comes off of that program cost. So, I mean, that's huge. We have quite a substantial base for that, which is great because that means those people are getting those opportunities and getting to use the YMCA. The Y obviously then absorbs those costs. So we do rely on our annual campaign and donations to help us continue that program and have that program be as successful as it is. The Streator YMCA, we always like to highlight, is the lowest rate for membership in the area. If you look at the other YMCAs, so we understand just the challenges that some families face in our community, and we try to keep everything affordable. We price our programs at, just to pay our staff and cover our supplies. We're not trying
Absolutely.
to price gouge people in any way, shape, or form. But just because we're a nonprofit doesn't mean we don't have those costs of staff and supplies
Absolutely.
and things. So we do try to keep our prices as minimal as possible for that. But then in order to do that, we do rely on those donations through the annual campaign. So we take donations all year round in any form. And we have very, very generous donors. We're very, very thankful to have the community there that we do as well to keep everything affordable. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And so any other barriers that come to mind that affect, and maybe not just for the Y, but to health and wellness community, what are some of the other barriers that you see, and how is the Y trying to help overcome those?
Sure. Yeah, I think people, kind of what I was saying earlier, they, have this perception of the Y, and they think that there's, not a whole lot that we can do for them. So kind of overcoming that is one of my goals as, newly executive director. It's how do we get people to come into us? Like, we need to get into the community so that they come into us. We can't just open the doors and hope people come in. So spreading the word by attending events. We attended a Live Well event at the park, and just getting, I can name a million ways that we've tried to kind of integrate ourselves into the community. So spreading that awareness, and even me being here today talking about everything we have going on, just helping people understand that it is more than a gym. And one of our hashtags we use on social media is more than a gym, or always here for our community, because we truly are. And just getting people to understand that, I think, is important.
Yeah, absolutely. Being in the community, like you said, being out in the community so that people will see you, and then that brings them to you. Going to the community in order to bring the community to you, I think is such a great. If you're a business, if you're in the nonprofit world, I think is great advice. For anyone in the business or nonprofit world, you have to go out and be present in the community in order to have them come interact with you. So, especially, I think about today, there's so many voices out there. There's so many gyms, so many, communities. There's so many places where people can go and find those things. Some good, some bad, and everything in between. But if you believe in what you're doing, going out there and representing it and making it a part of the community at large, I think is so important. Growing where you're planted, we talk about that all the time. Helping the rest of the community grow is so important. So thanks for sharing that wisdom with hopefully our any of our listeners that need that little bit of wisdom. So let's go back a little bit, back to talking about Streator growing up here, and just thinking about what has changed. Okay, we believe, part of our reason for doing this podcast is we believe Streator is a great community. It's growing. It's growing, and we believe in a lot of the right ways. And so we want to celebrate that, just to kind of, cut out some of the negative, because it's so easy for the negative voices to win out in the end. And so just going back to what you remember, And of course, you shared growing up with your family, and so some of those more personal things. As far as the community goes, growing up here, what was great? What's still great? What do you love that's changed? What are some things that you've seen that have changed and you love today?
Yeah. So when I was in high school, I remember there not being a whole lot going on Main Street. I remember it being a bit of a ghost town. And I shared that I moved away for college and I would come back for breaks or whatnot. And I started noticing a change then. I think it takes removing yourself and then coming back to really see the change. When you're in the change, it's kind of like it's just happening and you're kind of in your tunnel vision. So I had noticed, I was like, oh, that's a new business. That seems kind of neat. Or, oh, that's kind of cool. And now, graduated and then obviously started working in Streator again. And now, downtown is thriving. I mean, yeah, I love going into more on Main. Even something as simple as I'm also a dancer. I teach dance on the side of the dance center. And we just had our recital at the auditorium, which is newly renovated. And you talk about when I was in high school, what the auditorium looked like.
It is.
The ceiling was falling down.
Yeah.
Like the ceiling was literally on the ground.
We would go there for special events as a church, and it's like, this place.
When is this going to fall down?
It's going to fall down on us.
Awful.
And now it's gorgeous.
It is amazing.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. So I don't remember what recital. Maybe 2 years ago was our first recital back. I don't remember exactly when the renovation was complete, but it's just it just takes your breath away because I also danced on that stage, and I remember being worried about getting a splinter in my foot on stage. Like it just is what it is, and now we are so fortunate to have such a beautiful facility like that, and just knowing that it was restored back to its glory is just something that's so neat. I'm a very I like when history is preserved and things, and I just like things that have, I live in a house that was built in the 50s. I love things that have character. I hate the new cookie cutter kinds of thing. It's just too vanilla for me. But just those small, they're not small changes. They're huge changes.
Amazing.
But when you look at all of that coming together, it paints just a beautiful picture for our town and the murals that are all over town. I mean, I feel like the Y has gone through a similar transition. I remember being, in swim lessons and whatever, and it was okay, but now when I walked into the Y for my program director interview, I hadn't walked in years, and it was so bright and so welcoming, and it's the same building, but inside it's completely different. The new addition on the front obviously is beautiful. Yeah. But even the rest of the building has had so many improvements over the years, and like I said, you almost have to walk away from it and then come back to it to really appreciate all of those changes. So I think Streator is, there are awesome things happening in our community through and through.
Updates to Centennial has had some updates, I think, and just you said about the Y, and I would agree. The rest of the building has matched the front. I think the front addition very well. And I think
you don't walk into the new addition and then go into the next room and go like,
well, they forgot the rest of the place.
Right.
No,
but I think that goes for, talking about the town in general, the city in general. I think a lot of what's new, we've also managed to bring a lot of the past with us to celebrate it. And, we haven't just, you mentioned the murals. I love the murals. The Clock Tower Park, it just celebrates the history of our town, and I don't know, it just has this old vibe to it that doesn't feel old. It feels fresh and new, but it still celebrates the past. I have to mention our library. My wife working there, and of course we've had board members here. Redoing the mural there, the artwork, just the ways that the city has grown but not completely forgotten our past.
I need to go see that. I haven't seen that yet.
It's amazing. Yeah,
and there's a new addition onto the library too, right?
Yeah, on the back side of the library, absolutely. And without damaging any sort of flow or any, it doesn't undo the past. Yeah. It really fits well. So there's just so many ways that there's always, let's say it, there's always more work to be done. There's always And some of our guests, Jeremy Paul and the mayor, Councilman Reed, they've all said that there is more work to be done, and we acknowledge that. There's always ways that we can get better. There's always room for growth in our organizations, in our city, for our lives personally. And the beauty of it is that places like the YMCA, like the library, like the churches, provide the schools, provide a place for us to grow and get better together in community. And that is so important. It's so important for us individually to have that. It's so important for us as a community to have each other and being a part of that growth together. So it removes those barriers. So thank you for sharing those growth things that you've seen. So again, just to kind of summarize things. If you were to have an ideal vision, right, for the YMCA, for our community, health and wellness in our community, what would that be? Just to kind of, in a way of summing things up, putting a bow on everything, what would you see that as, and how would you like to see us accomplish that? If you were just to kind of share that, your vision for that with us.
Yeah, I think the why, and I think I speak for all of our staff, we want it to be seen as a community staple, as something that is a place where everybody is welcome, not just that our doors are open, but we also go into the community and make an impact. So something as simple as some of our directors are currently organizing a drive for coats and hygiene products for the schools, and just knowing, we're not doing it for the recognition, but just knowing that our members and our staff care enough to continue to give back into the community, and that we go out there to do that. And I think the more that organizations can do that and give back to each other, if we're all kind of walking hand in hand, I think that's what matters when you're talking in terms of bringing the community together, is people working together for the same goal. And nobody's in competition with each other. Even when you talk to the food pantry, it's like we're not trying to compete with the other food pantries to give away the most food. And I mean, we're the exact same way. We're not trying to compete with the coat drive that I don't know which club, the Rotary Club, I think, puts on. We actually reached out to them and we're like, hey, we would like to try to open something up for our members, as there's still a community need there. So if, an organization sees that need and we're in communication with each other to try to meet that need, I think that's where we find success.
That's been something that I've seen with all these interviews. All people in charge of all these different organizations or being involved in all these organizations, they're all working together. Like, there's no competition. It's like, we're doing this. Oh, they want to do that too. Awesome. Let's work together and accomplish this. And I think that's so important for any community, is to have all these organizations that are like-minded and want to work together to accomplish something greater than they can themselves. Right.
And you mentioned communication. That's so important. Just asking the question, hey, is this a need? Acknowledging that maybe somebody else has a better grasp on the need, but then asking, what can I do to help? Right. What's the need? What can I do to help? Is there something that we can do?
And we've seen that several times where we have an idea of something we can do, so we'll go to the organization, food pantry or whatever, and say, hey, this is what we want to do. What do you think? And they say, that's great. What if you did this instead? Because this is a need that we see, and we're like, oh,
we didn't think about it that way.
Sure. Like, you're in it. So we'll do that.
Absolutely.
Didn't the mayor suggest this podcast?
Yes.
That's amazing.
This was Mayor Bedi gave this idea of a Celebrate Streator network.
And she didn't come to us and say, hey, will you guys do a podcast?
Right.
Yeah, but the vision for that idea came from her. That's why she was our first guest. So shout out to Mayor Bedi. So thanks. Tara.
No, but that's the perfect example of somebody identifies that need, and okay, well, how can we help?
Yeah.
How can we do this?
Well, and listening, listening to what other people are saying. And when someone says this is a need, we listen and then we respond. And we learn and we grow and we do all that together in community. So, well, thank you so much, Shannon. So before we wrap up, is there anything that you want to share with our listeners any upcoming events, throughout the year or things. Where can people sign up for membership?
Sure.
Where do you want people to go to interact with the YMCA?
Yeah, sure. So we're located at 710 Oakley Avenue, right next to Centennial School on the north side of town. We do have a website, streeterymca.org. You can find, we have just information about all of our programs, membership rates, all of that online. Our contact information is there. I want people to know, so our three kind of pillars at the Y are youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. So those three bullet points really just break down exactly what we're doing. We have a relatively new program. It's called Rock Steady Boxing. I want to shout that program out real quick. It's a boxing program for people with Parkinson's disease, and that is so neat to watch. One of our, she's so cute. Her name's Elaine. She is one of our participants in that program, and she was actually driving up to the suburbs to do that pre-COVID. And when she found out that it was going to be offered here in Streator where she lives, she was just like over the moon about it. And it's just so cool to see that program happening and just know that's the perfect testament to, you don't have to be wanting to build muscle, lose weight, whatever. This is simply a program existing to help, and anyone at any level can participate in this. So that's just such a fun thing. Pickleball, we have 2 new outdoor courts this speaks volumes about the generosity of people in Streator. We were able to get that completely funded by donations. Labor to construct those courts was essentially done completely free of charge to the Y. So, it was, shout out Chad Broyles. He actually had a pickleball court that he constructed in his backyard. And he was like, yeah, sure, I can do this at the Y. It's like, oh, okay. But they're beautiful.
It looks
they're beautiful
great.
courts. Yeah. So those are free to member. So just understanding, like, if you can give a hand to help in something that you have expertise in, then do it. It doesn't have to be at the Y. It could be in any organization in the community. Just know that, what your skill set is and what you can bring can make a difference, whether you think it's small or not. Everybody has the opportunity to make a difference in our community. So, yeah, that's how I would sum that up.
All right. Well, thank you for that. We'll put links to those to the YMCA's website in our description. So, if there's anything else you want to add, if not, then
thank you guys for having me. Thank you guys for doing this podcast. I think it's just such a cool thing for our community, and I've learned a lot listening from the other interviewees. So I've enjoyed listening, and I'm a little nervous to listen to my own, but I will listen.
Well, thank you so much, Shannon, and thank you for being a part of it. Thank you for being a part of our community and for your work at the Y. So
thank you.
Thanks for listening. This has been the We Are Here podcast, and we'll see you next time.